Hello YouTubers. A couple of days ago I was compiling my videos from my recent Moscow trip to do a Moscow vlog, when I just happened to see this nauseous video and I just couldn't resist having a look. I've not produced a link to it because I don't want this guy's view count to go up unnecessarily. Suffice to say it's pretty much exactly the kind of nauseous nonsense you think it is. I was going to pass it up without comment, then I saw the highest rated comment was from a YouTuber called IslamicGamer. As you see, he's saying, "The expansion of the universe is one of the most important pieces of evidence that the universe was created out of nothing. Although this was not discovered by science until the 20th century. Allah has informed us of this reality in the Quran revealed 1400 years ago, and it's we who have built the universe with our creative power, and verily it is we who are steadily expanding it." Surah Ad-Dariyat 47. No, I wasn't going to let that go. So I replied with my usual YouTube tact and diplomacy, which I'm getting therapy for incidentally and working on. I said, "What a laugh. Quote, is we who are steadily expanding it, Surah Ad-Dariyat 47, unquote. If that is the case, the Quran is wrong. It is not steadily expanding, it's accelerating. Before science thought the expansion was steady, the translation was, quote, and the heaven we constructed with strength, and indeed we are its expander, unquote. You change the translation as you want and leave a trace of inaccuracies behind you." Now, I was being nice actually, because I took a pro-Islamic site translation that simply came out top of Google to make my point. If I'd have chosen Picthol, or some others for instance, I would have had any of these even more ambiguous translations. Yusuf Ali, with power and skill did we construct the firmament, for it is we who create the vastness of space. Picthol, we have built the heaven with might, and we it is who make the vast extent thereof. Shakir, and the heaven we raised it high with power, and most surely we are the makers of things ample. Anyway, to which I got this reply from IslamicGamer. You got part of it right, but you're reading it out of context. Laugh out loud. It's talking about the universe expanding, not the planet Earth. All you're doing is taking part of a verse and misplacing its context. Misplacing. It sounds nice. Now at this point, you're probably wondering what on earth he's talking about. I did not mention the planet Earth at all. Well, he's probably getting confused with the next verse, which says, "And the earth we have laid out, how gracious is the spreader," which famously implies that the earth is flat. But we won't go into that old chestnut unless we open a new can of apologetic worms. This is his icon and his flag on his channel, which I suggest shows you what his plan for the United States is. So I replied, as you see, with my typical tact and tolerance for differing viewpoints. You've got none of it right. The person who got it out of context was the moron who said the Quran said the universe was expanding. I was talking about the universe expanding and accelerating, and so was the deluded poster with his incorrect Quranic translation, proving that Muhammad was a fraud, hilariously without realizing it. As far as I'm concerned, the whole chapter is one sentence out of context with another sentence. No flow, no consistency, or direction of thought. I suggest you read it yourself and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Certainly if the translation was left alone, nobody would have had anything much to complain about. But my point was that the moment apologists start to mess around with the translation, they make things worse, not better. When the verse was saying, "The universe is a vast extent," it was fine. When it's mistranslated to say it's expanding, it's still fine, for now, until science discovers something possibly new. And when it's steadily expanding, it's just plain wrong. Will there be new translations of the never-changing eternal Quran coming out shortly, saying, "The universe is accelerating"? Yea, verily, I say unto you, it is we who make the heavens expand even faster. I don't know, but what we have now is a series of translations that disagree with science no matter what. And they still believe this is the Word of God? Even if the original translation was used, it could still be clearer, but maybe God was having a bad day when he wrote this perfectly clear text. Anyway, the next thing I got was 2 private messages from IslamicGamer, who I suggest is quite young. I won't divulge the exact contents of the messages because I believe I got them on trust and they remain private unless they contain a direct threat or some other possibility of criminal intent like blackmail or something similar. In this case, though, the messages were fairly pathetic and I don't take them seriously. They just said that if I should ever contact him again, he would have me banned from YouTube for life. I didn't, of course, contact him in the first place. The PMs came from him, and in no way could my comments be considered offensive to him unless telling him he got none of his comment right is some great crime. However, with YouTube these days, who knows? Apparently, the argument is I lied about his religion. I didn't, he lied about it. And that constitutes bigotry. Anyway, I simply PM'd back and informed him I wanted no contact from him either, and told him I was not bigoted, and I wanted no further contact or any more threats from him. After that, I got one more message saying he'd got other people banned before, and a few more threats, yada yada yada, at which point I blocked him because I don't need this nonsense from some kid with a Skyrim addiction. He's basically the only person I've blocked. What's amusing about all of this, however, is the fact that Muslims now think they can get people banned from YouTube just because criticism of Islam is offensive, bigoted, and hate speech. This is the way it goes. It strikes to the heart of our inherent weakness in our Western systems. That's our political correctness, which tolerates the intolerant. The real moral of this video is we have to look out, because the moment we can no longer criticize a religion means we're defenseless against it. In a democracy, the ability to speak out against someone else's poison is the only defense you have against that poison. In this case, I doubt IslamicGamer is a bad kid, but if he got his way, the bad people would soon see the potential for the misuse of the power of one-sided speech, and they'll use it. Until my next video in a couple of days, bye. Keep your ears open.